Imagine two imperfect souls trying to navigate the delicacies of balancing love and hurt and forgiving. Well, join us today as we help you walk through those. So welcome
Welcome.
to a couple conversations with Nate and Shay. Hi, my beautiful.
Hi, my handsome.
How are you today?
I'm fantastic.
Awesome.
Shabbat was awesome.
Yes, great study.
Yes. Great company, great food. This is a great Shabbat.
Oh, yes. Yes. So what I'd like to talk about today, because I know there's people out there that's had difficulties. We've been together 13, 12 years, and we've had our difficult times.
Yeah.
And, there's a balance of when you get on somebody's nerves or you do something to hurt their feelings that requires, they come back and apologize. And it's the art of, one, apologizing, and two, accepting the apologize and forgiving them and moving forward, right?
Right.
So, let's, tell me to you, what's the importance of the apology and the forgiveness in a relationship?
Well, the importance for me for the apology piece is change behavior. I think that the best form of apology is change behavior.
Right.
And then also, as far as the forgiveness piece, I had to learn how to forgive. And I'm still learning how to forgive because I think for me, it depends on what it is, how quickly
Right.
I can forgive. If I'm being honest, it's hard to forgive when I feel like I was done wrong intentionally.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a whole different.
And see, it'll be different. Like typically, when people have a hard time to forgive as well, and I would say me first and foremost, is when it's the people that are closest to you. When you feel like they have intentionally done things that are wrong, that's where I ain't gonna lie, I still got some work to do.
Right.
But like I said, the biggest piece for me is the change behavior, for sure, hands down.
Yeah, there's definitely a big difference when it comes to an unintentional hurt versus the I knew what I was doing,
Right.
but I didn't care at the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Or I did what I did because you did something that made me feel a certain type of way. But in my mind, if you don't communicate that, how is that justifiable?
right.
So like I give you an example. If somebody did something to me, and I'm a very communicative person, you know that. I will let you know exactly how I feel. And they did something to me and I go to them and I'm like, hey, what you did wasn't cool. It made me feel a certain type of way. Well, what you did to me wasn't cool.
But that's not the point.
Yeah, no. That's not, but even with that, depending on what it is, I will forgive a person for that.
Right.
Even though I feel like, and we in 2023, I want to normalize not using the word narcissist. Like everybody is using this word like as if it's the word but. B-U-T. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist. Everybody's narcissistic. Everybody's got narcissistic tendencies. And it's like, if you really understood what a narcissist is, most people can't survive a narcissist.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So like, and if I'm being honest, we all have narcissistic tendencies. From the entitlement to the elitist type of, I'm not going to apologize. I'm just going to walk around with my chest puffed out, and you know what I mean? The gaslighting and stuff. We all have been guilty of doing it at a time or two, if we're being honest. You know what I'm saying?
And a narcissist, a true narcissist, and certain narcissist tendencies.
Right.
You don't think you did anybody wrong.
Right.
Right? So, like, you don't feel like you need to apologize.
Right. And to be clear, like, and when I just had this conversation with a young lady earlier about mental illness, you know.
Right.
It's not so much that mental illness is running rampant more now than ever. It's being talked about more.
Right.
And so, you know, narcissistic syndrome, that's a form of mental illness, as is like a bipolar syndrome, or bipolarism or something like that. So I just, I don't want to have people use, or I think that it's an unfair thing to call somebody narcissistic simply because a person doesn't know how to navigate forgiveness or apologizing.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And that was my main reason for bringing that up, because I just feel like sometimes people have traumas and different things that have happened to them in their lives that make them not quick to forgive and not quick to apologize. It could be because they don't necessarily know any better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could be because they feel like, well, hey, even if I apologize or even if I forgive them, I feel like they're going to do it again. So I would never I would never forgive them. And then I'm not going to seek an apology.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So all in all, to me, you just got to let a person be who they are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And give it to y'all. And I feel like that person will come, that event, that situation will come full circle, where even if you don't get the apology, if you're due one, you'll be okay anyway.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to the whole apology and forgiveness,
right,
is like you need, maybe I'm backwards,
right,
but personally I feel that internally you need to forgive them before they come to apologize.
For sure.
Right? Because the thing is, like, and we've had this conversation with one of our boys, is like, you holding on to it's not affecting the other person.
No, it's not.
If they've wronged you, you have to, like, forgive them in your head.
Right.
You move on. Now, granted, you may move different around them until you receive the apology.
Right. And to me, that is very normal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it's human nature. Like, you're not going to leave yourself exposed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like if somebody smack you in the face. If you're around that same person and they walk up towards you, you going to be on the defense.
Right.
You're going to cover yourself. You know what I mean? So it would only make sense for a person to be not on the defensive, but gird your loins.
Right. Gird your loins.
Gird your loins, So, yeah.
All right. So, can you tell me, in your opinion, what you think the anatomy of a sincere apology? You've already mentioned change behavior.
Right.
Right? But there's more to go with that. Mm-hmm. Right? Because change behavior is in turn usually like a long-term thing.
Right.
Right? Because you need to be able to see, be like, oh, for real, you're not doing this no more. Right.
Cool.
Good for you.
Right.
But, so the apology itself, right? What would you say the good anatomy of that is?
Just, first and foremost, being regretful of your actions.
That's what I'll say, remorse.
Just be remorseful. Just be remorseful. Show that you regret the steps that you took to get to that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't be haughty. You know what I mean? When you apologize and be like, I'm sorry, I apologize. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. This is like something that literally set my veins on fire. when somebody said, I'm sorry if you took it that way.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Like, people need to understand the art of a real, true apology.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, so basically, that's a half-ass apology.
Right.
Right? Because you just said, I'm sorry if you took it that way.
And
so you're still blaming me.
Right.
You're still blaming me for your misstep. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need you to apologize. I would even take somebody saying, I apologize for the misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I apologize that I didn't fully receive or understand what it was that I needed to fully receive or understand. You know what I mean? Like, instead of you saying, I'm sorry you took it like that.
Well, and I mean, this is like my thought process, right? I believe the apology needs to be for, like, I think you mentioned it, but like, if I throw a shoe,
right,
and it hits you and hurts you,
right,
I'm not apologizing for hitting you with the shoe.
Right.
I need to be apologized for throwing the shoe.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I need to be remorseful.
It's
right, but I'm saying if I'm not remorseful for throwing the shoe,
right,
then the other is irrelevant.
That's true. Very, very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the dudes out there that you see in the TV or whatever, like they cheat on their girl and they're like, well, I'm sorry I cheated on you.
You sorry you got caught.
Right. Like, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm sorry I smashed old girl.
Right. But I'm sorry I cheated on you. So,
right. So in that statement, right. Like
so you would have still completed the act.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
I would have been slicker about it.
Right.
So you didn't find out and your feelings get hurt.
Right.
So you're still putting it back.
So I still would have smashed old girl. I really wish I wasn't with you, and then I would have got caught and all that. Right.
Right.
So yeah, no, yeah, we're still breaking up.
We're still done. We're done. All right. So the next thing is, I think that people don't put stock anymore in because they're selfish, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that. Is the healing power in a relationship
yes.
of forgiveness.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Because the thing is, like, it's not the healing power of the apology.
Right.
It's the healing power of the forgiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like what we said a second ago. It's not as much for the other person as it is for yourself.
Yep.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yes, studies have shown.
Studies have shown.
No, but yeah, studies have shown that if you are holding on, like if you're holding resentment and hurt and pain because you haven't forgiven somebody, it can affect you medically.
Right.
Literally,
Right.
medically, it can affect you. And again, like I told you, I am, and you know, babe, all these years we've been married, like you've seen me in all my ebbs and flows work on forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And again, it comes from a very tried era, right? Where, you know, I think I mentioned in another of our podcasts where, you know, when you've been mishandled,
Right.
and it's like you want to heal and you trying to navigate the healing, but it's like there's something missing. So it's like that apology piece was missing. But then sometimes you got to accept apology that you've never gotten.
Right.
Because it's freeing. It allows you to move on with life. You know what I mean? And here's the funny part about it. There are people who have wronged you who don't even realize you still hold on to it.
Right. You know how many times you've seen in those things where, like, the kids that got bullied in high school, they go back to the reunion.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
And they're still holding on to the bullies like, what'd I do to you?
Yeah, like, why you acting like this
They
with me?
moved on, but you're still holding on to it. And
right.
I'm not saying this stuff didn't hurt.
Right.
But by holding on to it, you've held yourself back all these years for something that the person that did it don't even, like, they have no recollection.
That movie we watched, You Again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all, if you want to watch a funny, a funny film, but it's one of those films that have a message in it. It's called You Again. I think it's like Jamie Lee Curtis and yeah. So basically, and what's crazy is towards the end of the film, it shows generational.
And they just kept holding on.
Right, they just kept holding on to it. I'm talking about, okay, so it was Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, I'm sorry, let's go back. By the end of the film, you realize, so Jamie Lee Curtis was the mom. I forget the girl's name that played she was one of the stars in the movie. She was the high school age girl that was bullied, and her brother ends up dating her arch nemesis, right? And so Jamie Lee Curtis was
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell, right?
So you had Kristen Bell, you got Odetta.
And Betty White was the grandmother.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
Right, Sigourney Weaver. Okay. So basically, there's 1, 2, 3 generations of women who had best friends or were befriended by somebody who bullied them or did something to them in high school.
They were classmates.
They were classmates. Good. Thank you, baby. And so basically, they have been holding on against each other since like high school.
And two of them was just misunderstanding.
Right. And for 3 generations. And it's just like, and the level of misunderstanding, right? And it's just like,
and they held all that anger and animosity for all them years.
But I like, years ago, there was an older Pakistani guy who, I worked at this herb shop, and he was talking to me about something, and he said overstanding. He wouldn't use understanding how we would use it. He was like, he was like, I want you to overstand what I'm saying. Right? In terms of like, I want you to get it.
Right.
Not understand, because understanding is like below, or like a lack of standing. Right? So I was like, okay. So even, I mean, now, as I look back at those conversations that I had, and he, much older gentleman, like he was probably in his 70s when I was in my early 20s. So when you talk about forgiveness and you talk about apologizing, we need to understand how powerful forgiveness is, and how powerful it is to repent to each other our wrongs and like our missteps and the things that we do that we might not necessarily understand that we did it, but be quick to apologize anyway. Right? Because you're gonna free somebody. You're gonna be able to help somebody with their trauma. You're gonna be able to help them with the hurt and the pain that they're going through.
Right.
But yeah, so it just, a lot of it be just misunderstandings. That's basically what it is.
Well, and then the thing is, it's like, once again, it's back to the paying attention. Right. Because to go to what our podcast a couple weeks ago was the change up. Right. You can unintentionally hurt someone. Right. Now there's a change up, but now you're like, why are you acting funny to me? Right. Well, it's because you hurt me, and I'm just distancing myself from you, but like, it's the paying attention, and that's the thing with us. Like, we pay heavy attention to each other. So if we unintentionally hurt either one of us, like, it don't take a second, but we're like, baby, what's wrong?
But wouldn't you say that a lot of times people's like the issue that a person would have with another person is just a level of lack of communication? Oh yeah. Because, and again, it comes from a very innocent place a lot of times. I would say more oftentimes than not, It comes from a place of innocence, because if you have not been raised in an environment where communication does not flow forward,
You're
then
not used to it.
you ain't used to it. And so you're not going to be quick to say, hey, you hurt me.
Right.
What you said to me didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What you did to me wasn't cool. You know, I want to make sure I understand what you said to me, so that, or I understand what you said to me.
Right.
So that,
This ain't a problem we have in the future.
right, and that we're communicating on a high frequency, so that this doesn't end up as a misstep on either one of our behalf. Because, see, you could say something to me, and I may take it wrong, and now I'm feeling away. But if I don't communicate that to you, then you don't know.
Right.
So then now I'm walking around and I'm holding on towards you, or I'm feeling away towards you. And then that's when those things start to fester. And a week goes by, and then another little small thing happens. And now I've already been festering on this thing, but then this happened, right? So now this and that happened.
Right.
So now I'm like, now my head's starting to steam a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing you know, we done had a blow up. Why? Because the first thing didn't get addressed.
Right.
I didn't communicate the first thing. So, but then whose fault is that?
I would say in that situation, well, the first issue with step to resolution
Right.
would be on the offended person if they don't speak on it.
Right.
You know, and then you got to, once again, we go back to communication.
Right.
But yeah, if you're offended, right? But then the problem is, it's like I've heard you use this example, right? If you've specified that you don't like that, right? Like, hey, I don't like chocolate cake. When my birthday comes around, you give me a chocolate cake.
Right. How can I get mad? Like, how can you get... One minute, let me say it again. I didn't specify that I don't like chocolate cake. That's what you said, right?
Well, no, I said...
You don't like it.
Right, but you communicated to me already, right? Or I communicated.
Yeah,
right?
I don't like chocolate cake.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's the point as if you get offended, right, and you don't communicate.
Right.
Right? Then
Right.
it's like, I didn't tell you I didn't like chocolate cake. Then
Right.
You got me a chocolate cake because you were trying to be nice.
Right.
But then I'm like, oh, I don't like chocolate cake.
Exactly.
Right? That's different than I told you, but then you turn around again
And get it
give
anyway.
me chocolate cake.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so you're doing this on purpose.
Right. So who's the cake for? Me or you? Like,
Right.
you like chocolate cake. I don't.
Right, you bought chocolate cake because you know I would
Yeah.
eat none and you get more.
And you want it. So you're selfish.
Right. Like, Brady,
Right.
more cake for me.
And you know what, too? I want to get better at the verbiage. You know what I mean?
Right.
The words, you know, because words have a lot of energy attached to them, and a lot, you know, power attached to them. We are our ruach, our spirit gives the word life, right? So I want to be more conscious of the words that I use, what I say, that we give power to. And I think that plays a pivotal role in the forgiveness and the apology piece, because if you are slower to speak and listen more, then you have less instances
Right.
where you have to apologize. You ain't running that yap.
Right, like what they said. You have 2 ears to hear
Yep.
and 1 mouth to speak.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Right.
you need to do twice as much as this and than this.
Less than that. Right. Right.
So when it comes to your strengths and weaknesses, I hate that word, strength and your opportunity
My
areas.
opportunities, you know, I love that.
Right. What is when someone offends you, right? What would you say is your opportunity area?
I'm a hothead. I will admit it. I am really working on that, especially at my big age, right? Like, you know, I'm quick with it, and I have to be careful because I will get offended and then I will offend.
Right.
It's not. It ain't nothing I'm proud of. I promise you. And as much as I'm sitting here being in, you know, joking about it, being in jest or whatever, that is something that I am working daily to change about Shay. I don't like the fact that if I'm offended, it's like, and it ain't never matched. You know how they say, when they go low, you go high. Now, when you go low, I'm going to be in the gutter. Like, when you go low, I'm going to be down here with you. Like, I'm going to be, you the scum, I'm going to be the pus under the scum. Like, you go low, I go lower. Right. You know what I mean? And I don't like that. When they talk about toxic traits and stuff like that, and I think that is middle child syndrome. Because I recognize that in one of our middle children. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, oh, you smack me?
I'm going to get you with a chair.
Yeah, okay. Like, you hit me on the hand? I'm grabbing a chair.
Right.
Right. Like you push me, I'm running you over with the car.
My dad used to say, he's like, do whatever you want to me. He's like, but when my retaliation comes, it's going to be bad enough where you think twice about doing it again.
Right. And see, that's the thing, because I feel like in my life, it's like I've been the underdog, right? I've been the counted out. I've been the, you know, I've been the target of a lot of unfair comments. I'm going to say that. And so as I got older, and it was just like, and I stood back and I looked at myself and I'm like, wait a minute. That's not me. That's who I was made out to be.
Right.
And I'm not going to keep letting this go. Like, I'm not going to keep letting this slide. So guess what? You've awakened the beast. like, oh yeah, it's happening. So
snap it to a Slim Jim.
You have awakened the beast. And so when and then now, like I said, this is a huge birthday coming up for me. And that's my mark. It's like, I don't want to wait until my birthday, but like, I want to look at myself and be proud of, that's the thing that I no longer am holding on to.
Right.
That's something that I realized in myself that I needed to overcome, and I've overcome that. And I've gotten better. Because talk about verbal assault. and again, like, that's a part of that toxic trait. Because I'm quick with it, and when I feel like I've been backed into a corner, or I've been treated and wrongly and mishandled, I'm
right.
That Uzi, and it's like, that ain't even cute. That's not cute.
You go off in the mouth and be like, you got a tax stamp for that?
Right.
Fully automatic.
Right. Like, and that ain't cute. And I think I was having a conversation the other day, and I was saying, I had a conversation, I was explaining to somebody about a conversation that I had with a very dear associate of mine. And I was saying how it was like they took pride in diminishing people.
Right.
And like delivering the most hurtful, toxic, garbage out of their mouth about people. And called it, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. And I was like, you ain't keeping it real. You real rude.
Real rude.
You
keeping it
real
real
nasty.
rude. Right.
Like, that didn't come from a place of love at all. And see, I will say this about myself that I do know. I try with love first. Right? It takes me a minute to, especially for people who I care about. Like, it takes me a minute to get to that level of anger to where I'm like, it's your time.
Right.
It's your time. But again, you know, the people who I'm not really around a lot of, when I get mishandled by them, it's like 0.05 seconds to 60.
Right.
And I'm like, you up.
Right.
And I'm just like, why do I do that? That is not of Yah, number one. You know, that's not gentle. It's not giving, you know, fruits of the spirit. It's giving works of the flesh. Like, I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be looked at and depicted as, you don't want to be over there with her. She is nasty and mean. And
right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. So the conversation I was having with somebody about a close associate of mine, and they were like, I do that. And I was like, well, we need to stop.
Right.
Because that ain't cute.
Right.
And there's no part of that is given healed.
That you still holding on to.
That's not healed. You sound hurt, boo.
Right.
you sound scarred and scabbed and pussed and everything. That's what you sound. You sound as nasty as that sounds. You are a open, seething, scabby, trying to scab but ain't scabbing wound.
Well, the problem is that they're scabbing, but they keep picking the scab.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Scabbing, but not scabbing.
Right.
Like it's like it's like you start to heal, but like, nah. Come on, scab.
Right.
You got, now it's then started all over. Now you done started the process all over again, because whatever it is that somebody is doing and or saying to you that puts you back in that spot, you allowing that scab to get ripped back off.
Right.
So that's it. That's the thing that I work on daily.
See, mine is the pettiness.
Yes.
And I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with yours, but mine is I'll take. I don't know how to keep it in scale, right?
Right.
Like we talked about the chair after a finger flick or something,
Yes,
right? But
yes.
mine is like, you finger flick me, I'm blowing your house up.
Right. Yes. You're very accurate, baby.
But then it's like the enjoyment of that, which is wrong. The enjoyment of just holding the potential
of what I could do to you.
Right.
Ooh.
Man,
Babe,
for the people watching. I've been holding on to it for 12 years.
You gotta let it go.
If you put it in the comments that you made it this far, I'll let it go.
He said it. Y'all got it on tape. You got it on tape.
You know who you are.
You got it on tape.
This is your one shot to get clear.
Yeah, he got it on tape, y'all. He just said he let it go. I didn't say that. He said that.
But you got to put in the comments, I got it.
I didn't say that though. Oh yeah, it's happening.
Right.
I'm just sorry. And like,
but that's what I'm saying. That's where my opportunity is. I mean, I'm not bad with most things, like just releasing it, because you know I don't have the best memory in the world, so I kind of have to release certain things.
Yeah, but it would have had to take somebody to really get under your skin for you to hold it this long, because you like Dory.
I don't talk to whales. But you mess with my pillow, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
You mess with my feelings, I can deal with that.
That's crazy.
Hey, I lay my head on my pillow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But that's mine. Is like that's what I have to work on.
I mean, I would say that. I would agree with that.
I mean, I think I'm pretty good at knowing when I need to apologize. Granted, as being a man, sometimes it processes a little slower.
Yes.
You have a great way of giving me, because you know that some of our best communication is nonverbal communication.
Yes.
Because we talk so much.
Yeah, we're right.
So, like, if I accidentally offend you,
yeah,
you quick to, I can get that signature because it's like, Bae's not talking to me.
Yeah.
Like, and then I replay in my head, and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. So it's funny because I have been reminded over and over again how loud my silence is.
Deafening.
And it's like, I didn't realize it until probably this past year. Because when I get quiet, here's the thing with me. I don't ignore people, right? I'm fully aware of what's going on. It's like, but the way that I'm trying to heal, I have learned not to speak to the offending party or parties with my unhealed self. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Go back to the verbal assault.
Because then we're gonna go back there. And then in that instance, like when that happens, I end up saying stuff that I can't take back. So she gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet, and I'm gonna let Yah show me and tell me what it is I need to do and or say.
Right.
And until I get that clearance, I'm gonna be quiet.
Right.
And so I didn't realize until this past year how deafening and loud my silence is, because I am a communicator and I don't mind giving up how I feel and telling people like, hey, listen, no bueno, like no this bueno. No mas. You know what I mean? I don't mind doing that, but not everybody takes heed.
Right.
And then that in turn affects me in a not so great way.
Right.
So I'm just learning to listen to Yah. Mm-hmm. And if he says be quiet, she gonna be quiet. And it affects people differently. But what I've learned is it has affected, like I said, the people who, or a person who, like, if I'm quiet and they're used to me verbalizing and I haven't done so, it's like, what's going on? What's happening? Like, what is she doing? Is she preparing war?
Well, I mean, and there's been some times that, like, because I process different, that I've had to come to you and be like, man, I know something's off. What is it? Right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, I mean, we've had a few times, it literally is a misunderstanding.
Right.
But if we don't ever address it and talk about it, then we just continue down that path that we're on that's miserable.
But you know what I've learned? I've learned to process your processing.
Hold on, my wheels are turning.
Okay.
Process my processing. Mm-hmm. Okay, explain.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
No.
All right, so
I'm still processing.
You buffering?
I'm buffering. I'm still running Windows XP up here, okay?
Insert AOL right here. But so say for instance something happens. So say you do something, right? And then I come to you and I'm like, babe, you did a thing. And this is what you did. And then you just sitting there. And you start buffering. So, buffering, by the way, y'all, is what I say when people be thinking and trying to process what I'm saying. And they just get that blank stare in their face like,
no, like that. I'm replaying in my head. And like, I have to go back. I can't multitask like that. Right. I'm like, break out, replay. Like, okay, you said it happened.
Wait a minute. No, it's the VCR. Stop.
Right. I have to rewind.
Rewind. Stop. Hit play. I just dated myself. I understand that.
Look, we may be able to do the jog times too. But we ain't going no faster than that because we're like, okay, we did this.
Right.
And then that happened.
Wait a minute, babe, so don't let me lose my thought. Hold on. So, I will say you did a thing. And then you say, okay. And then you sit there and you try to recount what you did. Right? So, while you're recounting, see, I used to get pissed. Because you would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And I would be infuriated like, what do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? What do you mean? You just did it. You doing it again. And you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
And so then I would be like, okay, you know what? And I storm off. I'm in pissy, right? And this only happens maybe once a year. Okay? So then, as the years go by, I'm like, oh, he has not yet processed what he did. I'm
Dory, remember? I don't remember.
So it had not yet processed. Oh, okay, I'm going to give him a minute. So I start processing while you're processing. I'm processing your processing. So then when you finally like, oh, crap.
Oh, damn! Like,
oh, that's what she was talking about.
Then it's that swallow your throat. Especially, I hate like when you be at work. I be like, "Hey, baby, I just figured it out.
I'm sorry." No, seriously, and so then I'm just like. Okay, and then look, it used to be the longer that it would take for you to process, the more pissed off. It would like determine how long I would be mad. So like if it took you hours to process it and figure it out, by then I'm seething in anger and I'm like, I'm not talking to him. He done pissed me off. It's gonna be a whole entire day before I say something to him, knowing doggone well I'm not gonna not talk to you for an entire day. That is like weird. And so, but then by the time you say, baby, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm so sorry, then I'm like, now I gotta forgive him. Okay, all right, you're forgiven.
But you know, without you know, to kind of summarize a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, without apologies and forgiveness and changed behaviors and communication, we wouldn't have made it to 13, 12 years.
You doggone right. You know what I love about you? One of the things that I love about you is that you never repeat an error.
No, because repeating an error is like the insanity thing we talk about.
No, babe, but you are good at it. Like, when I tell you, if I say to you, babe, I don't like that. Why'd you do that? Like, if I express to you something is not right, you would do everything that you can possibly do to not repeat the thing. And I just love that about you.
My hard drive might not be huge, but I got a pretty good Rolodex there. Like, oh, nope, don't do that.
Don't do that. Take that out of the Rolodex.
No, the note says,
don't do it.
right,
Okay.
because you know when my shenanigans come up.
Right, yeah.
And then it's like, hold on, Bae said, don't do that. Never mind.
Yeah,
You know.
So I love that. I absolutely love that.
Playing with saw blades and stuff like that, you know.
Please don't.
Bae says, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Please
But
don't.
I'm grateful that we have open communication. As we said, you know, apologies and forgiveness, that's our issue is more with all the outside elements,
Truth.
right?
Yes, that is true.
Because, you know, it's easy because we talk and we understand each other. People don't understand us and how we move sometimes. So I think that's what creates a lot. But, I mean, I think I've gotten pretty good. I can speak for myself as far as not holding the ought against them because, one, I'm not going to remember it that long. And two, it's not worth.
Right. I think the ultimate thing for me, and if I left this earth today, that in my heart, I don't have a hateful bone in my body.
Right.
The legacy that I want to leave here on this earth is that it's love. My earliest memories have always been love. I'm a loving person. I love love. I love everything that's associated with love. The joy, peace of it all. You know what I mean? The sacrifice. You know what I mean? I realized just having, you know, conversations with the kids, you know, and they, you know, them telling me certain memories that they've had of upbringing and the things that they've, you know, we've all gone through together. And it's just like, Mom, you deserve to have this because you sacrificed this. And, you know, I know that you tired of having to do this, but you know what I mean? And it's just like, I do it from a place of love. So I don't really think about the sacrifice associated with it.
Right.
So in my heart is forgiveness. And my heart is repentance. I'm always trying to be a better version of myself. Right? Every single day. Every day that Yah allows me to remain above ground, I give him thanks and I try to work towards, you know, everybody being able to look at me and say, you know what? If I don't get nothing else from her, I know it's all love.
Right.
Even if it's correction, it's still love at the base of it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So I just, like I said, the legacy that I want to leave and live is love and forgiveness. And just, I think that that's a powerful thing. I don't think that we think about it enough or talk about it enough as children of the Most High, human beings, whatever you want to call yourself. Like, I really feel like we get so caught up and wrapped up with just daily life and everything that comes with it, and we get so self-involved. We get so self-involved and so wrapped up in just everything else that we don't talk about the legacy that we leave and the things that in the traumas or lack thereof that we leave people with.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't ever want anybody to look back at my stint on this earth and be like, she has a butthole.
She was a hateful
She's a
person.
hateful witch. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I want them to even in my error, like even when I don't always make the mark, I do want people to see that Yah dwells in me and that I do the best I can. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if they come to me and communicate to me that, hey, you hurt my feelings, you made me feel away, you know what I mean? Whatever. Know that I'm going to internalize it and I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure I don't repeat those actions. Right. That's me. In a nutshell, that's me. And so, and because that's me and because I know I work hard at being that person, I expect everybody to be like that with me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and biblically, right, the Messiah told the story of, forgiving the brother.
Right.
70 times 7. And, and people look at that and they're like, well, that's a lot. Well, no, that's so many that, like, by that point, you just, like, you can't hold on to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you forgive them so much, it's like, they're like, I'm praying for you.
Right. Right.
Instead of holding on, I'll just pray for you. So.
You know what the last part that I want to say is that sometimes, and I know people, and families do it, couples do it, you know what I mean? But just because a person moves in silence does not mean that they're in awe.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that's being worked out in that individual. And the same grace that you want, you got to give.
Right.
You have to.
You have to give what you expect.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I would speak for myself, when I'm being quiet, I'm not being disrespectful.
You're being quiet so you're not
I'm being quiet so I'm not disrespectful. I'm being quiet so that I'm hearing the Most High speak and work and do a work in me. Because if you're not quiet, how can you listen?
Right.
To take a page out of your book, I remember you telling the boys that when you pray, what do you do after that? Because see, we pray and we ask things of the Most High, but then we go on about our day. Do you sit with it and do you listen what the answer is? Because we quick to say, well, I be praying, but he ain't saying nothing. He ain't hear me. Did you listen though?
Right. Are you being still long enough and listening?
Right.
For him to talk to you.
Right. So I think the most important apology and the most important forgiveness is to ourselves. Mm-hmm. We owe that to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because real quick, we want to be, they owe me an apology. But you do yourself wronger than they do.
Right.
Like, you do dirt more than you to yourself than this person did. You ain't forgave you.
True facts.
Okay.
Like you owe yourself an apology.
Like you just beat the hell out yourself.
Right.
And they ain't do nothing but hurt your feelings and you don't want to apologize to them. But you keep doing dirt to yourself.
Right.
Make it make sense.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that is apologizing and forgiving. And if y'all have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Love to hear from you. If we provided some value for you, smash that thumbs up for us.
Please. It helps our channel. Helps us on the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
We are 3 away from 700.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yes.
You know, I know there's giant ones out there, but you know what?
Listen.
I praise the Most High for every single one of y'all.
For real.
And all we can do, just like we try to do in our personal lives, is strive to do better. We strive to do better for y'all. We strive to do better for the Most High.
Yeah.
We strive to do better for each other. So.
That's a fact.
But any last words?
No. I just want everybody to have a good week. going forward. If you see this, because it is sundown is after the Shabbat, so this is going into the beginning of a new week. So yeah, I just want everybody to just be blessed and give yourself grace and give other people grace as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, we love y'all, and this has been a couple conversations with Nate and Shay.
Yep.
And until next time,
All right.
shalom, y'all.